In an emergency, it is important to have a plan of action to follow to ensure that all employees remain safe. Confusion in emergency situations could cost someone their life. An event such as an earthquake, fire, or chemical spill usually requires everyone to leave the shop building for their own safety. Whenever this happens, you need to know exactly what to do. This video will explain the process for evacuating the shop and what your responsibilities are. The information provided in this video may one day save your life. When an evacuation of the shop is required, or in the case of a drill, the person in charge will be responsible to initiate the procedure to exit the shop. The person in charge can be either a manager or shift coordinator, depending on who is on duty at that time. The first part of the procedure is sounding the alarm. There are 4 ways for signaling an evacuation of the shop: the PA system, radio and telephone, whistle, and by word of mouth. In the event of an emergency, the person in charge will contact emergency personnel and signal the evacuation, or will assign someone to do so. The PA system will be the primary means of notification. The PA system for the shop can be accessed by dialing 252. The store department must also be notified by using the store PA system that can be accessed by dialing 3200. The touch tone pad on the telephone is to be used to signal 5 short tones, a pause, and 5 short tones. This may be followed by additional information or special instructions such as, "This is a drill." This sequence should be repeated at least 3 times. The person in charge will contact all supervisors by means of radio. Supervisors in turn can contact their employees working outside the shop by radio. The person in charge will also call the roundhouse foreman and store department by telephone. The person in charge will contact the powerhouse so that the boiler operator can signal the evacuation by blowing the whistle. If there is no boiler operator on duty, he may then assign someone to blow the whistle. The whistle signal consists of 5 short blasts, a pause, and 5 short blasts. This will be repeated as many times as possible. It is the responsibility of all employees to spread the word to their fellow employees to evacuate the shop. Whenever you hear any of the alarms, the next step is to promptly leave the building. As you exit, remember to leave all lights on so that others can exit behind you. Close all the doors and leave them unlocked. The closed doors will act as a temporary fire break. Walk to the nearest exit. Escort any visitors out of the building with you. And gather at the primary assembly area, which is the helicopter pad located at the south end of the parking area. You may then be instructed to evacuate to another area, depending on the type of emergency. Once you are at the primary assembly area, report immediately to your supervisor for a head count. This is to make certain that everyone is out safely. After the head count, each foreman will then report to the person in charge of any missing persons. Remain at the assembly area until the person in charge has determined that it is safe to return to the building. If there is any need to evacuate to another location, you will receive further instructions at that time. Evacuation of the building will go smoothly if this procedure is followed, and if everyone does their part. There are 3 key players in the evacuation procedure. They are the person in charge, which can be either a manager or a shift coordinator, the foreman, and yourself. Let's examine the responsibilities of each of these key players. The person in charge is responsible to see that the emergency personnel are contacted, initiate the evacuation process, contact foreman, service track, and store department, and to designate the area to evacuate to. Designate someone to meet emergency personnel and direct them to the emergency. Get reports from the foreman of the head counts and any missing personnel. Advise emergency service personnel of any missing persons. Advise foreman when it is safe to return to the building. The foremen are responsible to advise all persons under their responsibility of the emergency. Check all sections within their work area and alert personnel of the emergency and ensure that everyone has left the building. They must do this without jeopardizing their own personal safety. Conduct a head count at the assembly area. Report the head count or missing persons to the person in charge. Keep their gang together until they have been advised that it is safe to return to the building. All employees are responsible to know the nearest exit and know the primary evacuation area. Alert your fellow employees of the emergency. Leave the building in an orderly manner. Report promptly to your foreman at the assembly area. Remain in the assembly area until you are advised that it is safe to return to the building. Knowing this procedure and doing your part will make the evacuation process go smoothly. More importantly, it may save your life. When you hear the alarm, remember the process. Spread the word to evacuate to others. Leave all lights on. Close all the doors and leave them unlocked. Walk quickly to the nearest exit. Escort any visitors out of the building with you. Go to the helicopter pad or as otherwise instructed. Report immediately to your supervisor and remain in the assembly area until you are advised that it is safe to return to the building. Remember, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Please work safely and live long.